Today on At Home with Tracy, Jada and I are going to share with you how we make our yeast rolls.
You can do anything if you put your mind to it. There's nothing impossible, put your mind to it. At home with Tracy. Yeah. At home with Tracy.
Okay, now we have our water ready. Our water has to be at lukewarm temperature, which is between 98 and 105 degrees. So let me check it and see if we're at the right temperature. Okay, so we're at 103, so we're right in the middle. And Jada's gonna go ahead and put the yeast and the sugar. We have 2 packets of yeast and we have a teaspoon of sugar. So go ahead and put that in and mix it real good for me. And then I'm gonna have you to set the timer. So the timer is gonna be for 10 minutes. We wait for 10 minutes to make sure that our yeast has really done its thing. So once she gets it all incorporated, we're gonna set that yeast to the side and wait for it to do its thing. Okay, and I also already in my bowl, I have 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 2 teaspoons of salt, and I have 1/4 cup of sugar. And most recipes I see, they only have 1 teaspoon of sugar. Sorry, 1 teaspoon of salt, but I like to use 2 teaspoons of salt. It really gives it a more balanced flavor in your roll. So once that yeast has done its thing, we're going to incorporate also 5 tablespoons of melted butter, and we have 1 large egg that's already been beaten, and I have some extra flour here in case our dough is a little sticky. Sometimes when it's a little moist outside, you'll have a little stickiness in your dough. So that's why I have this extra flour here. So once that, you can go ahead and do the timer, Jada. Give 1 minute, just 1 second. We want to get all this yeast. You don't want to lose any of it. Go ahead and set the timer. Okay, time is going, thank you. Okay, so we want to get all that yeast, and we're just going to sit it over here to the side and let it do its thing. It's going to get really foamy, guys, so that's what you want. When you see, when you're doing your yeast, you want to make sure it's foamy, because if it doesn't foam up, then that means that your yeast is dead, it's not active, and then you'll have to use some more or your bread will not rise. So once that does its thing, give us 10 more minutes and we'll be back, and we're gonna mix all the ingredients in the stand mixer, okay? Okay, we're back, and our yeast is well on its way to being finished. You see how frothy it's gotten? Can you see that? Can you see the foam? You see the separation of the layers? See that layer of foam? So in the meantime, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna add our egg. We're gonna turn our mixer on. Ooh, not that hot. And we're just gonna go ahead and add our egg. And we're adding the 5 tablespoons of melted butter. And just make sure when you melt your butter, you allow it to cool down before you add it into your flour mixture. And I just want that to come together part the way. And the last thing we're gonna add is our yeast. So we still have like 49 seconds. So in just a second, we're gonna go ahead and add our yeast. But before I add my yeast, I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the dough hook. I'm gonna take the paddle off, and I'm gonna go ahead and switch to the dough hook. So that way when we add the yeast, we'll be good to go. So just make sure you scrape all your flour, everything off of your paddle. And if you don't have a stand mixer, you can do this just with the regular mixer. I even seen people do it by hand. So the stand mixer is not a requirement to making these rolls. It just kind of makes it a little easier. Okay, so we got everything, almost everything off there. So let's go ahead and attach. There's our timer, Jada. Stop that for me. bowl back up. And now we're gonna go ahead and add this yeast.
Perfect timing.
Yep. Oops. You wanna make sure all of it gets in the bowl. And all of it has gotten in the bowl. So we're gonna go ahead and turn this on. And once this mixed all together, part of the way I might have to scrape down the bowl to make sure all the flour gets incorporated. So it's coming together pretty good. I'm gonna just slow it down a little bit so I can go ahead and scrape this bowl down. Get all that flour off the side of the bowl so it can all get incorporated, so it can go ahead and form our dough. And we're just gonna leave it until it just forms a dough ball. So it looks like at this point I may, well, I don't want to speak too soon. Let it just go a little bit longer. Let's speed this up a little bit. So, Jada, you probably know this recipe by heart by now, huh?
Yes, I know it by heart because I've been in the kitchen with you and...
Yeah, I know, and you're a quick learner.
Yes.
Yeah, so it still has a little bit more flour at the bottom of my bowl, so I'm gonna turn this back on for you guys so that it will go ahead and start mixing up that flour at the bottom. Okay, so now I'm starting to pull that flour up from the bottom and incorporate it into the rest of the dough. Just as I mentioned before, sometimes the dough is a little sticky because of the moisture outside. It's currently raining here, and so it is a little sticky, just as I suspected it would be. That's why I have this extra flour. So I'm just gonna add a little bit at a time until the dough completely comes together and pulls away from the side of the bowl. That's what you want. Okay, I'm gonna add just a little bit more flour because it's still just a little bit sticky. So now it's kind of pulled away from the bowl just like I wanted it to. You turn this off so you can hear me. So now it has pulled away from the bowl just like I wanted it to. It's still just a tad bit sticky in the bottom. So I'm gonna put maybe like half of what I have remaining in here so it can pull away from the bottom. And then once it does that, I'm gonna set a 3-minute timer and I'm just gonna let it go on the dough hook for 3 minutes. That's gonna be the kneading, so that when I take it out, I don't have to do any more kneading to it, okay? So I'm gonna turn the mixer back on now. Go ahead and set that timer. And we just let let it go for 3 minutes, okay? Now I already have a bowl that's sitting over here that I have, just put some oil in the bowl, and that'll be so when the dough rises, that it will not stick to the bowl. Now let me tell you another thing. See, another thing that I do that's a little bit different than maybe what you don't making your yeast rolls at home. Most of the time we don't have ovens with proofers, or we don't have a proofer in our home just like you might have in an industrial kitchen. So what I do, I use my microwave as a makeshift proofer. So already I have on my stove, I have some boiling water here, and I'm just going to pour that into a bowl. And once I put my dough in the bowl, I'm going to cover it up with some plastic wrap. And then I'm going to set it inside the microwave along with that bowl of hot boiling water, and I'm going to let it rise for 1 hour and 15 minutes. That moisture, that warm moisture, along with that microwave door being closed and letting none of that escape, it gives you a nice high rise to your dough. It makes the dough rise, and the rolls will be real nice and fluffy as a result. I really can tell the difference when I take that extra step and when I don't. So that's something that I normally do all the time now when I'm making dough. So now we can take the dough off our hook. And remove the hook so I can get the dough out. Okay. So it's still just a tad bit sticky, but not a whole lot. The way it is now, it's kind of like it's supposed to be.
It seems like that flour on the board is going to help it get the way.
Yes, it's going to take that extra stickiness away. Okay, so let me share with you guys one other thing that I do with my dough that maybe you might do this too, I don't know. But this is just something that I started doing, and again I find it very, very helpful in how my rolls turn out. I had the 5 tablespoons of butter that I took off of 1 whole stick. So I take the remaining butter that's softened, and I just spread it with my hands, spread it all on the dough. And I recommend that you use a good quality butter when you're doing this, not like margarine or anything, but you know, some real good quality butter.
I can't believe it's not butter.
Yeah, you don't want to use anything like that. You want to use some real butter. So then what I do from here, I just fold the dough, and I just keep folding it, kind of kneading that butter into the dough. And don't worry, you will get some on your hands. This can kind of be a messy step, but this kind of creates some layers in your dough, and you can just tell the difference when you do this and when you don't. So that's about enough. I'm just going to go ahead and put my dough in my bowl, and I'm going to set the timer on the microwave. I'm going to set the timer on the microwave for 1 hour and 15 minutes. I'm going to turn my stove off, put this water, this boiling water in this bowl. Woo, don't want to burn myself. Put this in here. Let it start heating up the microwave, and then I'm gonna cover this with some plastic wrap. And after 1 hour and 15 minutes, we're gonna come back and we're gonna roll the rolls out. What is wrong with me? Roll the rolls out, and then we're gonna let it rise for an extra 35 minutes. Now, after this first additional rise, if you are pushed for time and you don't have time to do that second rise, you can go ahead and form your rolls and bake them off at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes at that time. But I like to always do the double rise. So once we get this risen for the hour and 15 minutes, we'll be back. Okay, we're back and our dough has risen for the hour and 15 minutes. And see how high the rise got? Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and punch that down and then get this out of this bowl, and then we're gonna start rolling our dough, forming our dough. Forming our rolls.
All the goodness out of the bowl.
Yeah, and it smells so good.
Yes.
Okay, so as you can see, I have a little bit of flour down on my board already, and it's just gonna assist me in making these rolls. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull a piece off, and then we're gonna start forming our rolls. So you wanna take your rolls, you wanna get the top. This is gonna be the top. You wanna get that nice and smooth, and then you wanna tuck all the ends at the bottom. You wanna bring all of that around, tuck all that in, and then gather it all at the bottom like this, and kind of do a twist so the whole sort of stay. And then we're gonna put these in our pan like so. We're gonna try to get all of them about the same size. Okay, so again, we smooth out the top, and then we just bring all the corners together under the bottom. We're gonna gather all of those up. We'll make sure all the corners are in the bottom, and then we're gonna do another little slight twist, just like this. And we're gonna put it in here. And once we get this pan full, we're gonna come back and let it rise for another 30 to 35 minutes. And then once we do that, we're gonna brush the top with butter, and we're gonna put them in the oven and let them bake at 400 degrees for 20 to 25 minutes. So once we get all that done, we'll be back. Okay, I'm back, and I have my rolls all portioned out in the pan, and they're ready to go in the microwave in our makeshift proofer to rise for the second time. And again, I'm gonna leave those in there for 30 to 35 minutes for them to do the second rise, and then I'll come back and bake them off and show you the end product. Okay, we're back, and our rolls have finally risen for its final rise. Look, aren't they beautiful? You can tell the difference with that final rise. That second rise made all the difference. I've already buttered these rolls, and now they're gonna go in the oven for 20 minutes on 400 degrees, and we'll be back as soon as they come out to show you the final product. All right, we're back with the final product. Our rolls are out of the oven. Look at how brown they are. They are beautiful. I've already gone and put a little bit more butter on the top, but I want to take this out. I want to show you why I lined the pan with foil. So it's easy just to lift the whole thing out. But I want to peel this down so you can see these rolls. And move this out of the way. It's still hot. But I want you to see how pretty and brown they are. That is just beautiful. And it smells
Really good.
It smells so good. So all that's left to do now is taste one. Ooh,
I've been waiting for this.
These are, oh my goodness, right out of your own kitchen. Can you imagine not having to go to the restaurant or, oh my goodness, to get this, is you can just get this nice, ooh, it's so hot,
It steams.
soft, succulent roll right out of your own kitchen. Woo, hot.
Flaky.
So we made a little bit of honey butter up that we're gonna put on our rolls. Just gonna spread it on there before we taste it. You know, just like you do at the restaurant. So, let me see. Oh my goodness,
Of
Joey.
course.
like I thought. These are wonderful. They're like little pillows of dough. Just like really pillowy. These are so wonderful.
They are.
This takes me back to grade school. Oh my God. Y'all remember that? The yeast rolls we used to have at school? Oh my goodness.
But they're better.
Ooh, for all the people that are watching that are from Rayford, shout out to Rayford, North Carolina. Y'all remember those rolls we used to have at Turleton and the Upchurch and the Hoke High? Y'all remember them? These taste
good.
But I thank you again for watching. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, we need for you to like, subscribe, and
hit that bell.
We need you to hit that bell so that you will know the next time that Tracy and Jada uploads a video. Again, thank you for watching. This has been At Home with Tracy
and Jada.
Good night.
Feels like it.